Thank you, French. Much shalom, greetings to you all. It was a celebratory week last week. I had the great pleasure and honor to officiate, observe, celebrate, and sanctify the wedding of a wonderful couple. And it was great seeing some people I haven't seen in about 40 years. You know, and there are 5 or 6 more weddings coming up very soon. It is the season. There is a season to everything. To everything. Turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. Now that, of course, from Ecclesiastes, but made famous by the birds. And a happy birthday to Mr. McGuinn himself. It was his birthday the other day. Now, I know Priscilla Penena had a birthday she will never forget. And I'm glad I was there for it. I feel badly that I was not at my dear friend Sandra's birthday, which was the 7th. I hope it was exceptional. I'm sorry I could not have been around for it. And this week is the birthday of Martin, my oldest and closest friend. And although he is my oldest friend, he truly gets younger every year. Now, I love the autocorrect or fill-in or whatever it is when you type on portable devices. I get a kick out of some of the things I find in my notes when I take them and I write my weekly commentaries. Yes, I do read the Parsha every week and make new notes and try and always find something different, interesting, new for you. And when I made my note to myself about including Martin, I wrote oldest friend and my device wrote oddest instead. The power of AI. Perhaps not so artificial after all. Happy birthday, Martin. I hope it is fantastic. And a lot of people have started RSVPing for the meditation we have coming up, and several who either cannot make it or do not live here have asked me to send it to them, and I'll be doing that next week when it takes place. So if you want to get a copy of it, please let me know. Now, I've taught meditation courses for many years. And I know many people get frustrated because they think they do not do it right. And I keep telling them, there is no right. Turn off your mind. Relax. Float downstream. It is not dying. It is not dying. Now, it's hard to believe those brilliant words were from Revolver. Released in August of 1966, 50 years ago. Tomorrow never knows, and it doesn't, does it? And since meditation is about thoughts, let us send our good thoughts, our healing energy out to Claudia, Michael, Susan, especially Brian. The toll of Alzheimer's is huge. It ripples through the loved one's family and community. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you. And to Terry, who thought he was Michelangelo and fell and had a scaffold break 4 of his ribs. Get well, my friend. You're moving in less than 2 weeks, and you are needed for the move. And let us send out all the healing energy we can to the world. It certainly needs it these days. Mi Shabera Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach, let us all have our spirits renewed. Now, I had a few comments also come in, and I do love your comments about the incense that we talked about last week, and how many love the great fragrances, and how people light incense when meditating, when bathing, when performing their own rituals that people perform in their daily lives. Now, the power of our olfactory sense is oft overlooked. Like other things in our lives, we often notice what we do not like, not what we do. So pay more attention to what smells pleasing. That enhances sensuality. Do not forget, the Hebrew God and all sacrifices to him and or her was based upon scent, on fragrance, not on taste. Like other gods that ate of the food, the Hebrew God never ate from the sacrifice. It was always about the pleasing smell. Ooh, that smell. Can't you smell that smell? Ooh, that smell. The smell that's around you. The great Leonard Skinner. Friends, this week we read Chukat, the law, among other things, to do with purification of the red heifer. A very odd sacrifice, not done in a few thousand years, and probably never to be done again. But it's a topic that everybody is just like crazy about. Now, it's centered on ritual purity, and it fascinates many. Like I said, it's almost like a portent of the coming of the Messiah. In fact, there is an entire tractate in the Mishnah devoted to it called Tractate Parah, cow, devoted just to this cleansing in the red heifer. Now, the existence of a red heifer that conforms with all of the rigid requirements imposed by halakha, or Jewish religious law, is probably a biological anomaly. Among other things, the animal must be entirely of one color, red, and there's a series of tests that have been listed by the rabbis over the years that ensure this. And one of the tests, for example, is the hair of the cow must be absolutely straight, no perms, to ensure that the cow had not previously been yoked, because that's an automatic disqualifier. And that's why people sometimes think, it's a heifer, a young cow, although it's never actually referred to. It's simply a cow. Now, according to Jewish tradition, only 9 red heifers were actually slaughtered in the period starting with Moses and going to the destruction of the Second Temple, because it was a temple sacrifice. Now, Mishnah Parah, the one we talked about, recounts 8 of them, stating that Moses was the first, Ezra the second, Simon the just, and Yochanan the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, prepared 2 each. And there were 2 others prepared by different people. Now, the absolute rarity of the animal, combined with the detailed ritual in which it is used, has given the red heifer this special status in Jewish tradition, unlike any other sacrifice. It is cited as the prime example of a biblical law for which there is no apparent logic. There is nowhere where we know any reason for it. Now, because the state of ritual purity obtained through the ashes of a red heifer is a necessary prerequisite for participating in temple services, and we don't have a temple anymore, efforts have been made in modern times by Jews wishing for biblical ritual purity and in anticipation of building a 3rd temple to locate a red heifer and recreate the ritual. Now, there have been many candidates examined, none of which qualified, and the last tested that I know of was back around 2002. And it, too, is one of the many mistranslated words in the Bible, because para, as a heifer, is simply an interpretation, and it's not a translation. Para, adama, red cow. Now, while this is a favorite rabbinic topic when this parsha comes up, and it is often talked about in Torah commentaries, probably more than anything else here, I am more interested in the fact that this particular parsha that we're reading right now is a time warp. It's just a jump to the left, and then a step to the right. Let's do the time warp again. Let's do the time warp again. Now, we've just catapulted 40 years into the future. Miriam dies. The crime at Meribah takes place that we talked about last week. Aaron dies. A plague is let loose that only a bronze serpent named Nehushtan can cure. Now, we do not know much about the death of Miriam, but we did not know much about her life either. We saw her only briefly, and usually only to emphasize something. But the announcement of her death tells us the female of the generation has died. Just as when we read of Aaron's death a little bit later, we know the male has died. Numbers 22. And the community had no water, and they assembled against Moses and against Aaron. Really? Is this new? Well, Aaron and Moses, of course, go to talk to God, who says, "Take the staff and assemble the community, you and Aaron your brother, and you shall speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water, and I shall bring forth water for them from the rock, and give drink to the community and to its beasts." And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembled in front of the rock, and he said to them, "Listen, pray, rebels, shall we bring forth water for you from this rock?" And Moses raised his hand, and he struck the rock with his staff twice, and abundant water came out, and the community with its beasts drank. Well, friends, you gotta know something big is happening. We have been reading from the day of creation through the laws, the journey. This is a book about distinction, separation, division, light from dark, holy from secular. And now the words are gather, assemble, put together. Just as the people all gathered at the Sinai Epiphany, they gather now to see the power of God in saving them from yet another peril. So Moses takes the staff, the one we read about, which was to be assigned to rebels. No longer is it your staff or Aaron's staff, but the staff, the new symbol of power. He called them rebels, and he gave them water, just like he said. All good, right? Well, believe it or not, this is one of the most contentious parts of biblical interpretation. And the Lord said to Moses and to Aaron, "Inasmuch as you did not trust me to sanctify me before the eyes of the Israelites, even so you shall not bring this assembly to the land that I have given to them. These are the waters of Meribah." Well, the great debate, of course, is what was the crime of Moses that he's not allowed to take the people in? Well, in case you missed it, it's mentioned again in Numbers 20:24. "Let Aaron be gathered to his kin, for he shall not come into the land that I have given to the Israelites, because you both have rebelled against my word at the waters of Meribah." Now, what an interesting choice of words by God. You both rebelled. The same word as used for Korah, for Dathan, for the mumbling, grumbling complainers that Moses just called the people by. You know, friends, we do not like to think of our heroes as being prey to the one truly great downfall of man, his ego. This episode is a story of ego, greater than you may realize. Now, tradition tells us Moses' sin is in his angry striking of the rock instead of speaking to it as he was instructed. Okay, so he did not obey God's instructions. He struck it instead of talking to it. You know, so for that, he's exiled, basically. Now, more modern interpretations suggest possibly it is his presumptuous claim at the very moment he's supposed to sanctify God in the eyes of the people, that it is he and Aaron who will bring forth the water from the rock. So he previously kept saying, "It's not me, it's God." Now he says, he will provide the water. Has his ego finally gotten the better of him? Now, perhaps in our anthropomorphic way of creating God in our own image, we project the greatest failing of ego to God himself. See, he was to be sanctified by Moses, but instead was left out. So could God be that petty? That because Moses and Aaron did not promote him like they were supposed to, they should not see the promised land? Well, believe it or not, that is actually the closest description. But of course, it begs the most questions, of course. And in his usual way of dealing with the people, Numbers 21:6, the Lord sent against the people the viper serpents, and they bit the people, and many people of Israel died. And when Moses intercedes again on the people's behalf, and the Lord said to Moses, "Make you a viper and put it on a standard, and so then whoever is bitten will see it and live." And Moses made a serpent of bronze and put it on a standard, and so then if the serpent bit a man, he looked on the serpent of bronze and lived. A magical metal serpent. Wow, magic. Why a serpent? Well, God hears our words and weighs our hearts. As the people complained, God heard their words, and he sent the punishment of poisonous snakes. Now, why did God use snakes to punish the people? Snakes have been a very significant biblical animal. The garden. The first symbol Moses was shown by God and told to show Pharaoh. And now this. Now, Rashi had a couple of great suggestions. He suggested that God chose snakes for two reasons. The serpent in the Garden of Eden was punished for speaking words of slander against God. So God sent the serpent, who was punished for speaking slander, now to punish those who were guilty of speaking slander. And this, a little karmic action. Now, the second reason was that the serpent had been cursed to eat dust all the days of its life. So God sent the serpent, who was punished by being given a diet of dust, to punish those who complained about their food. Again, another karmic adjustment. Now, this contributes to the belief that the serpent epitomizes evil. When we allow ourselves to slip into self-pity, and we give expression to a critical spirit, we are already victims of evil. The serpent has always been perceived as a professional slanderer, the accuser of the brethren, and the origin of rebellion against God. We say he was the very first to express discontentment with his lot in life. So when we show ingratitude towards God and complain about his ways, it's as if we are speaking the serpent's native tongue. His venom is already poisoning our hearts, the lesson of Genesis simply being reinforced here. Now, this makes a great simile, but I think it's far more than this. The message, once again, is in forgiveness and repentance. As soon as the Israelites asked Moses for forgiveness, he interceded on their behalf. Rashi points to this as an example of how we should also be quick to forgive others. He says, from this, we learn that a person who is asking for forgiveness should not be so cruel as to withhold forgiveness. So friends, when you are asked to forgive, forgive. And of course, most cultures have the snake as a symbol of transformation. So we can transform to our higher selves. Now, the world, is always been anti-snake for, biblical reasons, probably. And so it was a fantastic simile to put here. But the fact that Moses has his bronze serpent is really incredible. The world is sacred, my friends, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life, the life of those you love. Share your feelings with them, live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, and be blessed. Share and honor the light, all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive, learn to love, open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn to be, to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. Share your holiness. Bless you all. Have a fantastic week. A week of love and light and peace and healing, and honor the people of your life. Remember, man, you are in control. After all, man gave names to all the animals. In the beginning, man gave names to all the animals. In the beginning, long time ago, saw an animal as smooth as glass, slithering his way through the grass. Saw him disappear by a tree near the lake. And we know what he called him. Do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised lands, my friends. It's in sight. It is right there waiting for you. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep trying. Keep teaching. Keep spreading your holiness. Do not follow fear. Thank you all for joining me, for participating, for sharing with me the gift of your sacred time and your sacred space. I love you. I look forward to seeing you with the Labyrinth meditation. And I will see you all next time when we read one of the greatest of all stories in the Bible, the story of Balak. Try not to miss it. Be well till then. Shabbat Shalom.